Do want to mention a stock that many of you I know own. It's Apple, sliding again today. Widely followed Morgan Stanley analyst Katy Huberty slashing her price target on the stock to $236, the third target cut this week. Apple now on pace for its worst quarter in a decade. Pete, you talk about Katy Huberty all the time.
Yeah, and she's been money for so many years.
Let me finish.
Yep.
So she raised a price target not that long ago.
From 226, 253.
Now she looks at China issues and says, I'm cutting the price target.
Yeah. And I think that...
How much weight now does this have on the way you personally think about
it? Still is Apple. A move 10 bucks higher than her original, where she started at 226. And I think she just got a little too in front of herself, potentially, with that 253 number, Scott. But when you look at beneath the numbers, and if you look at what Katy's really put out there today, what she's saying is, China, yes, that's been slowing. They are gaining market share, though. The iPhones are gaining market share there, but that's a slowing area. Globally, they're still expanding in terms of the iPhone. So that's, I think, one of the takeaways. The other is she continues to focus on what I continue to say, these are the two most important parts.
Services?
Wearables and services. And they've got the streaming service coming up as well. So I think that there are things out there, Scott, that actually will move. For a matter of fact, at some point in time, she points out over the next 5 years that the revenue growth will be about 50% of the revenue growth will come from the services side. That's a big number when you're talking about Apple's big numbers. And she's projecting $100 billion from the services side. That's a big chunk. So am I nervous about it? I'm not happy about the fact that the stock's down today.
The November low, right? I mean, 170 seems to be an interesting line.
It seems to be a level. I totally agree with you. And I just bought some the other day higher than this. It was around 175, 176. I added to my position. I'm not even thinking about shaking.
This stock has lost $270 billion in market value in a couple of months.
Yep.
This is an extraordinary loss of market value. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again, absent a company having horrendous news or an absolute blow-up. And nothing of the sort has happened.
Right.
You know how many companies there are in the world worth even $270 billion? Only a handful. Right. And this company has shed that. So we know where the money went.
23% over 3 months.
Went into treasuries. But I just think that's a huge...
Almost 19% in a month.
It's a huge number. This is $1 trillion. Now it's the third biggest company in the world.
It was $1 trillion market cap.
So I'm saying, and that's absent Apple, like, doing anything bad. Now imagine they really fail to execute. So I think that is noteworthy of the sentiment in this market. So it's bigger than an Apple story.
But I think it's what the market is doing to everybody, right? They're saying, now show us the story again.
Sure, that's just a very extreme example because of the size. So I'm with you.
I think there are specifics to Apple that merit this decline, at least in the short term. We're talking about discounting when their strategy up until now has been to raise prices. The fact that they're walking back guidance, which clearly implicates that iPhones are not selling as much. Now, for that to change, you have to get a report from the company that you're actually getting better iPhone sales. Pete, I hear you on services. I'm in the name. I believe you on that. But unfortunately, right now, it's still all about the iPhones. And until they come out with a report on how the holiday selling season has gone, it's not going to change.
Right. Well, what's interesting, too, if I could just add, Broadcom reported last night, and they said blowout, but they weren't going to report going forward guidance.
They're doing 1 year, no longer quarterly.
Right, but they didn't get hit for that like Apple got
like Apple did, because they're not going to give the
units
units out there. You and I talked about that last night.
Yeah.